Hello, everybody. Yeah, that's how you start videos. Uh, anyhow, I am here. Obviously, I'm here. Anyhow, I'm here to do a gender tag. So, basically, I did this a little over a year ago, and at the time, I identified as like a demi boy, and that has kind of changed. Uh, so yeah, let us get started. And you guys will have to suffer because of voiceover. Okay.
How do you self-identify your gender, and what does that definition mean to you?
Okay, so, I went to the website to, for this, I forget what it, like, Asher something, Ash Ketchum. uh, so I'm using voiceover on the website, so don't mind me. But, okay, so self-identify. It's... Okay. So, I identify as... Okay. Simple answer, agender. Cringe, SJW, answer, masculine, demi-agender kind of thing. Um, Basically, I identify as, like, mostly agender, and then maybe, like, a third of male, and then it's a nice little pinch of everything. But yeah, I think that's where the social construct argument kind of kicks in, and my experience with being female and then trying to be male, and now hate gender, blah blah blah. I think that just comes with having experience with all the genders, so you can kind of relate to all the genders. So in a sense, just a pinch of pan. Woo! I know it's cringy, isn't it? uh, but and I guess, okay, what do you say again?
How do you self-identify your gender, and what does that definition mean to you?
Okay, so what does it mean to me? So, basically, so for me, the simple answer of, being agender, I feel disconnected from both genders to quite an extent. Now, I do feel kind of connected to male because of, just the way, just not being female. I feel like I fit more with men than women, and, but overall I feel like I kind of fit more into this group that's not men, not women kind of thing. Like, when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, that's not a dude, that's not a chick, that is definitely not chick. I mean, like, it's kind of one of those if you have to kind of category. It might be male. Of course, like I said, the pinch of pangender that I talk about is, honestly, I feel like more of that social construct. uh, I want to call it bullshit, but I mean, it's still, it's real, but it's not as real as some people make it out to be. Uh, or if you want to get really weird about it, get really trippy about it, nothing is real because, hey, philosophy major here. Just recently changed it to philosophy, but still, love me some philosophy. But yeah, so I mean, you want to get into that much of an argument over, I can just be like, but no gender is real. Nothing's real. You're not real. This world's a hologram. I'm. You doomed yourself by watching this video. uh, so for me, I kind of think of it in a sense of, if you were to, actually, I have a physical example I can use, and where are you? Okay, so imagine painting bottle caps, and imagine painting them, red or pink, whatever, for whoopsies. I'll just use this. I need a mess. Oh god. So, you get the real me. Hey, I guess that's why I'm potato in the raw. But anyhow, so yeah, uh, so it's like painting bottle caps. Pink for like girl, or at least that's kind of what I use for this case of scenario, I guess. And you know, purple for androgyny, and like blue for you know male, and then white being as if it's not painted or whatever at all. Um, and I actually have a visual example of how I feel. So as you can see, let me get in better lighting, because the lighting's kind of crap. So yeah, can you see that? Can you see it? I don't know. I'm blind and I have it on selfie mode. But so basically, that's kind of, that's kind of how I feel more of, as a visual representation. Visual representation by the blind guy. Anyhow, so, yeah, as you can kind of see, see, my shirt here is white, and, and the letters on it are blue. You can kind of tell it's not completely white, and it's definitely not really blue. Shut up, phone. So yeah, that's kind of a visual representation of how I feel with my gender. It's not completely male, but if you had to choose between blue and pink or whatever, you would definitely put that more into the blue realm. Now let's try not knocking over things. Okay, yay, I made it back to my seat. Anyhow, yeah, so yeah, but, overall, it's just kind of I just don't feel male or female. And, like, the best way I can actually explain this to someone who's like, well, maybe you're just confused. And it's like, no, actually, I was probably more confused when identifying as male, to be honest. Because I was like, I still don't feel completely male, but at the same time, I do kind of feel male. I mean, I'm not female. And it's like, basically for me, being female felt wrong, and being male didn't feel wrong, but it didn't feel right either. It was kind of like, eh. But once I started identifying as a gender, I was like, damn, this shit feels right. It just, it's me. And that's just, when I look in the mirror and when I talk about myself in third person or whatever, I'm like, I can't really bring myself to gender myself because to me it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I acknowledge that biologically right now, I have female biology. I recognize I'm transitioning male, and I recognize I'm going to look more male overall. So yeah. But anyhow, that's enough for question one, isn't it? 9 more rambles to go.
Reader, but specifically in that some
No.
part loosely gender fluid. Loosely gender
Yeah,
fluid.
this
Specifically in that some part
site
feel
also
androgynous.
this site also has the person's way that they identify as. So now I have to scroll.
Page 6 of 24. Page 6 feels accurate too. I feel how feels accurate too. Feels accurate too. Feels accurate too. Page 7 of 24. I use she slash her pronouns. Mostly page 6 of 24. 2. What pronouns honor you?
Okay, there we go. What pronouns honor me? Okay, so um honestly, they them. Uh but I'm okay with he him. I'm just kind of like meh. And I've always been okay with he him, even like before, you know, like I said before, you know, I still didn't feel completely male, but I felt like he him were somewhat gender neutral pronouns, because of, ancient use of it, like he who shall blah 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 blah. um yeah. Yeah, so I do like they them, and oh god, I'm looking at myself in the camera and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like Trigglypuff. Oh god, somebody save me. Now I just need to get really pissed off at something stupid. Anyhow, but this isn't what this is about, so I'm gonna stop there. um but yeah. I just overall I like they them because it's, and it is singular. I hate it when I respect people's belief that, I'm not going to call someone they them, but it bugs me when they're like, it's not plural, because, I mean, or words, when they say it's only plural, because it's like, okay, if you see a random dude or chick or whatever, and you don't know what gender they are, most people, in an attempt to you know like not be rude or something, they might be like who are they, or like whatever, or or is this theirs or something like that. So I mean, if you're gonna argue, at least have some logic. But yeah, so At least be accurate in your statements. um, so yeah, but I like it because it is in a sense of like you don't know my gender, and yeah, but I do accept he him just because like I said, to me that's also gender neutral in a sense, but it's slightly masculine gender neutral. um, at least I can interpret that way, even if people don't want me to.
11:03 a.m.
Okay,
Button.
so I think that's enough for
Choose
that.
the Hide Safari Reader.
Okay, next. Next.
Feels accurate too. 2. What pronouns honor you? Page 7 of 24. I use she slash her pronoun. I use she slash her pronoun. Page 8 of 24. 3. Describe the style of clothing that you most often wear.
The style of clothing that I most often wear. Okay, so that would be whatever's clean. um, so yeah, I wear um I wear t-shirts mostly. Once in a while, I might wear a tank top, and then I wear pretty much these shorts. If it's colder outside, I might. Actually, if it's cold outside, I typically wear flannel, as you can see over there. I got two of them over there because Oklahoma doesn't know how to decide what weather it wants to be. Like last week, it was just it was literally colder than uh, Alaska, and now it's like in the 60s. I'm like, what the hell? Anyhow, actually, yeah, because Tuesday, like today's Sunday, and like yesterday, it was almost 70, and like on Tuesday, first day of classes, wind chill was a -8. Actually, no, when I left the apartment, it was like -9. So yeah, Oklahoma's stupid. uh, anyhow, uh, so see, I go on tangents. That's why these videos are so long. Oh god. So clothing that I wear, like I said, typically flannels. If it's like wind chill -9. But most of the time, uh, or if it's cold enough, I might wear sweatpants or something like that. Uh, I'm not a big person on fashion. I try to make my clothes kind of match. And yes, there is a way to do that if you're blind. Uh, there are like apps and stuff like that to tell you what colors there are, but I have enough vision to actually kind of see my stuff. So yeah. Uh, and I think as far as fashion, I think it's a mixture of I'm kind of blind, so I don't really give a shit, and also just I kind of have a more male attitude towards fashion, just like, okay, yeah, I typically just wear what's clean. So yeah, um, but I also have a bit of a feminine side that kind of is like I like looking. Actually, it's more like a gay fashion designer guy kind of thing, where it's kind of like I like I like looking at fashion on other people and picking and choosing different outfits. and mix matching, so that can be fun.
11:06.
Yeah, that's.
Shows or
Oh, I
hides
also
body
typically wear tennis shoes because I walk everywhere.
3. Describe the style of
Okay.
page 9 of 24. This one's tricky what I wear. Page 10 of 24. This one's tricky what I
Shut
page
up.
11 of
I just
24.
want.
4. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you
Okay.
style your hair? 4. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you style your hair?
Um. Okay. So I actually right now this has just like a little bit of coconut oil in it, and this is sticking up for the most part by itself without anything in it. uh, so hair wise, uh, I really want sideburns, and I really hope I'm actually starting to grow sideburns, but I can't tell. I think I am, which is cool. Um, so yeah, but so I like to mix and match, what hairstyles I have as far as up here, because it's like right now I have a mohawk, but I think my favorite hairstyle is kind of like a pixie haircut, but I get really impulsive and I like to cut my hair. I also I I also really wish I had the patience to grow my hair out long. Because when I was little, I had hair like long enough where I was sitting on it, and that's a pain in the ass, but uh, or more of a pain in the head because of my ass. Uh, it's and my hair is really thick too, so uh, I used to have all the Pentecostal girls love uh, messing with my hair, and I was like, okay, and I like people kind of messing with my hair anyway, so which makes me not understand the whole thing about you know people getting upset if someone touches their hair, but I guess that applies to black and white people, but I guess it's a preference thing. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know where I was going now. Um, I'm starting to get some beardly hairs. Honestly, all I really would want is like maybe a goatee. Uh, as far as chest hair goes, I don't really have a lot of it. I don't really want anything until I get my chest taken care of, tit wise. I'm starting to get a mustache. I'm kind of neutral to having a mustache. It's like I like it because I can get a, I I've got the very obvious boobs. But with this, it's kind of like, oh, but there's also facial hair and a deep voice. Could that be a boy? Could it be a girl? Who knows? So, yeah. So right now, it's kind of like I welcome any facial hair because it kind of helps to contradict this. Uh, Actually, being on testosterone, I've got some belly hair. See? This belly. I'm fat. Don't you love it? uh, I'm kind of neutral to that hair. I'm kind of like, okay, it's there. I don't really care. Like, whatever. It exists. So what? I've my legs are like crazy hairy, and sometimes I get very distracted by my leg hairs, or like they'll start feeling weird, so I might shave them then. But otherwise, I'm kind of neutral to the hair because I'm like, I don't really care, and it's a lot of effort to shave, and I just don't like taking the effort to shave because effort. This is no other excuse. It's just effort. I would rather be putting that to my homework and stuff like that. Like the little bit that I do have. Um, and pubic hair I trim because I don't like that getting tangled. You can imagine. Ow. Anyhow, yeah, I'm an open book, FYI. uh, I'm overall neutral to my hair. I don't really. If I could choose what hair could grow, I'd be like, okay, I want a goatee and I want sideburns, and I like my head hair, I guess, whatever. And I like my eyebrows. So yeah, but otherwise, I would honestly be perfectly fine without any other hair anywhere else. So
11.
yeah,
Show
I just
more
don't
likes
like
than
hair when it
REU.
starts to get uncomfortably long, whatever.
Body hair wise. Body hair wise.
Okay.
Page 12 of 24. 5. Do you have facial hair? What do you choose to shave? Or choose not to shave?
Wait.
Page 11 of 24. 4. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you... Page 12 of 24. 5. Do you have facial hair?
Okay.
What do you choose to shave? Or choose not to shave?
So I basically already answered number 5. I kind of jumbled 4 and 5 together. So 5 was basically asking about the facial hair and shaving. So yeah,
Page 13 of 24.
I just kind of involved everything because I'm an all-inclusive person.
6. Talk about cosmetics. Do you choose to wear makeup? Do you paint your nails? What types of soaps and perfumes do you use, if any?
Okie dokie. What kind of soaps do you use, if any? I know you're trying to be inclusive of everybody, but most people use soap. I would honestly be the chance of somebody being non-binary or gendered or even doing this or being a YouTuber and not using soap is a bit slim. Okay. Anyhow, I'm not here to critique shit, but I am, but I'm not. um, so basically cosmetics. I actually, because I knew this question was coming because I've done this before, is that I actually got my stuff out. So I was using Axe shampoo. I often switch up, what type I use. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to this now. And funny story, I actually, so for a while, I was using this and I was getting really itchy, in the shower. But I was like, whatever, I'll probably change shampoos once I'm finished with this because I'm kind of, I'm kind of a penny pincher. Penny pincher. There we go. Try saying that 5 times fast. And I was like, well, I'll just wait till I finish the bottle, blah, blah, blah. And, but this last time that I used it, oh boy, did I hurt my head pretty bad. I think it's a mixture of the dryness from winter and this, because I get a lot of dry skin in the winter, which I'll show you another product I use for, winter times. uh, so, yeah. Basically, my head started itching so bad to the point that it was burning. And, I went to the doctor because I kind of already had that. I kind of already had that in mind of like, oh yeah, I should. Uh, I was already going there because of other things. Uh, but oh gosh, I lost my train of thought because I hear noises. Uh, so long story short, I basically killed my head and I have a bad rash on my scalp because of this. So I no longer use Axe. But so yeah, so I had to actually go to the store, and actually last night I put coconut oil in. Um, so I did this. It feels so greasy. Yeah, you don't like that feeling. Um, and then I also bought No More Tears baby shampoo because that was what my doctor recommended I do. There's coconut oil in this, and because I'm like, okay, I really don't want to risk burning my head again. Um, I actually looked for a brand that is specifically hypoallergenic. So it's not only baby shampoo, but it's also hypoallergenic. So hopefully, if that kills my head, I'm just, I guess I can't use shampoo anymore. I don't know. And last night, so I actually used this moisturizer. I got it. I actually got it as a sampler thing for trying to sell Avon, and then I kind of sucked at trying to sell Avon because social anxiety. I thought I could overcome it, and I just couldn't. I really failed really bad on that aspect, but I still have this. So, and, you know, paid for kind of because $25 for starter packs. So, this came with it, blah, blah, blah. So, but I actually really like this stuff. And you can go online and order this from Avon, or if you know somebody specific, order from them. I don't know. But I use this for my rashes. I hate the texture of it. I really hate the feeling of it on my skin. But it does a great job when it comes to like, winter dry skin. And so I also put this in my hair too last night. So th- this sticking up nothing but moisturizer and coconut oil. So yeah. Um, Other products I use. Once in a great while, I will spike my hair. Um, so actually, I have Axe for that, but I haven't used it since I've been apparently allergic to Axe. So I might actually have to get rid of this too. Yeah. But that's kind of what I like to use for kind of a moderate kind of like oh yeah, kind of like not really spiky, but kind of frizzly. I keep hearing the wind on my blinds because my window's open. Um, and then I also have this. I don't really know what it is because I kind of, yeah. But I've had this for a very long time, so I don't even know if it's effective anymore. Uh, yeah, and this is really good stuff for um, if you want like Goku hair, basically. like if you want to be a Super Saiyan or just a normal Saiyan, this is the gel that you use. Because this stuff will make it stick up nice and well. Don't, I don't know. I can't really read what it is because the words are so thin. But yeah, other products I use. Um, I use this. I think they stopped making this. I don't know why though. But they do have They have other products of this, but it's like stress relief, Bath and Body Works. Yep, I'm gonna butcher this. Eucalyptic mint. Here, you can just look at the bottle. You see the bottle? Hopefully, I'm holding it still enough. Look at it. Look at it. So yeah. Also, another product I actually got from Avon years and years and years ago. Like, I think I was like 10th or 11th grade. God, no, I was 11th grade because I think I had to be 18. So yeah, I was like 11th grade. I bought this. So, and because I don't use a whole lot of female perfume, and I'm also terrified of using this in the spring because I'm like, I don't want to attract bugs on me. Don't want to smell like a flower, blueberry flowers. But this stuff smells amazing. It really does. And they still sell these body sprays in Avon. There goes my moisturizer. Yeah, I'm not a very big like, producty person. So I'm kind of like, yeah, it's, but I do have the few things that I do use. So, yeah. um, Also, so out of all the makeup stuff, I hate makeup with the sole exception of fingernail polish, because I really do like fingernail polish. Unfortunately, right now at the time, um, for the sake of passing and fear of restrooms, and see, unlike other, people who are trans or who are like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get my ass kicked in the restroom because, everybody hates transgender people. I'm like, no, that's not the case. But I am honestly terrified of the crazy guy who's like, like, what you doing? Hey, you fucking treaty, like, and I have met my fair share of people who are kind of messed up in the head, and it makes you feel very uncomfortable. Because, they only get out like maybe one or two words of actual word, and usually it's some cuss word, honestly. So yeah, and because I don't know how well other people can see things, so I'm not sure if it would be very obvious if I painted my nails that I have painted nails. So I just don't paint them because I'm also okay with not painting my nails. But I do have this like silvery nail polish that I have used once. But I do like painting my nails. I do love this though because I'm like, yes, it's silver. I've been wanting that for so long now. And I have this really beautiful purple. Any of my other makeup is back at my dad's place, and I don't know what he did with it. So, because a lot of things kind of got rearranged room-wise, and so who knows? That stuff might not even exist anymore. I don't know, but I have a lot of makeup for someone who doesn't use makeup. I mean, even before transitioning or coming out as male or agender or whatever, I still I still had a lot of makeup, and I never used it because I just don't care. Like, yeah. Anyhow, I think that's my fair share on the aspect of cosmetics and looking fabulous. Do I look retarded yet? This is kind of a fun video, I think. You get to watch my stupidity. Oh god, what was I on? Okay, so I was on 6. Okay, I already talked about it. You can
Have you experienced being misgendered? If so, how often? Do you experience dysphoria? How does that happen to you?
Okay. So, basically, what it's talking about is have I don't know how well you guys can hear the voiceover through the phone. um, but basically, questions. Have you ever been English? Have you ever been misgendered, and have you and do you have dysphoria? Okay, so this one's gonna be a nice ramble. So I've been misgendered a lot by family. Actually, I have not even been correctly gendered by family. My dad is the closest thing, and if you've watched some of my videos in the past, I've rambled about that kind of issue I had with him. And he's kind of coming around, but he's kind of trying to force himself to call me by my current legal name, which is Zane. So, yeah. Anyhow, um, I have been misgendered a couple times, even now. And, so, I've had people call me she or whatever. If you want to get technical about it, I guess technically I'm constantly misgendered because I'm not completely out as a gender because I'm not. It's harder to come out as a gender whenever everyone's experience who has any logic within their brains is like, but any sees non-binary people in this really bad light because some of them are stupid and some of them honestly is so bad that I was hesitant to consider myself a gender because some of the cringe and just stupid arguments. Like, I mean, it's just, you just don't blame all the shit on a social construct. Because if you want to think about it like that, I could technically come in and make everything invalid by just saying, well, technically, it's very possible that this world is just a simulation. And, give give all the philosophy arguments for that. And I'm pretty sure people would be pretty pissed off at me for that. Hell, I think even philosophy people would be pissed off at me for that. So yeah. Now, I do have, like, one or two friends who actually tried to gender me as they, them. And I do like they, them. But like I said, I'm realistic and I can understand that, we don't have a lot of things backing up non-binary identities except for some of this, like, like, well, gender is a social construct, and it's like, yes, but it's also psychological too, and you know, basically saying it's a social construct kind of kind of diminishes dysphoria, which is another part of the question. So yeah, I really hate the argument of just purely social construct, because then it's like, but I mean, yes, it is a social construct to an extent, but it is also quite a bit of a psychological state of being. So yeah, learn your shit. Okay? Okay? Got that? uh, so, dysphoria wise, with me, So, honestly, I was thinking about something that a lot of other people tend to bring up, which is the idea that, not the idea, that, what kind of things did you want to have going when you go through puberty? And I didn't really think about this a lot because I don't have a whole lot of memory of my childhood and, whatever. Um, but with, making myself look back and actually thinking about the past, I remember that I wanted to have an Adam's apple. Honestly, like, I'd see my dad with, like, his Adam's apple. It's just kind of, I kind of understood that I wasn't going to have that, but at the same time, I was kind of like, man, but it'd be really nice if I did. It'd be pretty cool. Uh, Whatever. And I think, you know, um, I just never really saw myself as a gender, really. I kind of just saw myself as me. And so I didn't really care about gender roles. Sorry, all my over talking makes me thirsty. But, so, yeah. Gay flag behind me. It's watching. I am very easily distractible. If that wasn't obvious. So, yeah. Dysphoria wise, So honestly, I should actually mention this in the hair aspect of it, but I want sideburns. I really do want sideburns. Cause like or did I mention that? I don't know. Who knows? Oh gosh. Uh, y'all get the most real me that there is. Not non-scripted, totally. You know what? I'm just gonna wing it. Um, so yeah, dysphoria wise, I think. So let's go with the obvious thing is tits, boobs, boobies. Um, you know, they're great, but they're not. They're great on someone else. Um, you know. Oh, another thing is, so I think what also took me so long to figure out is, because it's like I want an Adam's apple and sideburns and feminine curves. So yeah. I know that's. I, my dysphoria, like the way I want to look, is almost like a '90s boy band. You know, like look. Like in all legitimacy, though, if you think about it, legitimacy. I don't think that's a word, but maybe it is. I don't think it's a word, but if it is, I'm gonna kind of laugh too. Um, so yeah, I do not want boobs. I would like my chest to be flat, and I'm still trying to raise up money. Um, I do have a set goal now. I want to be able to have top surgery by 2020, or at least have the finances available to me by that time, and get the surgery sometime in that year at the very latest. So it's gonna be a painful ride, but I'm trying to still save up money and stuff. But being realistic, hopefully. But plans can get messed up. Um, I also hate the idea of having. Even though I'm on testosterone, I hate the idea of estrogen still running through my body, and I'm not very fond of having a uterus either. So I would like uterus and ovaries gone, out, done. Um, yeah. So that's probably my second worst thing of my dysphoria is oh, another dysphoria I have that's actually also equally bad is my voice. And honestly, I did not realize this at the time. But now I'm like, oh god, if my voice went back to being female sounding, I would hate myself. Now, I'm okay if it kind of sounds feminine, but I want a deep I want a deep voice, but I want it but I like the idea of that I can also still speak with a feminine tone. So, I know it's weird. It's a contradiction like me. Uh, anyhow, so yeah, I definitely want to get hysterectomy pretty bad. So voice, boobs, and uterus and ovaries are things. And I think I have this really huge fear that it's one of those very illogical things that are like okay, why is that your concern with this specific scenario? But like I'm terrified of some catastrophic event, maybe a nuclear war or something like that happening, and me not being able to have the resources to get a binder to flatten my chest or and not have the ability to ever get my get my boobs off. And same goes with the idea of, oh god, what if I don't have access to testosterone? And then I have to have periods again. And I mean, that would make survival just a pain in the ass, too. Uh, uh, you know, uh, so yeah, in a post-apocalyptic world, I'm still like, I hope I can pass this bill. Of course, I'm honestly the type of person that I can buckle down and I can deal with dysphoria enough to actually focus on survival, but just saying, periods would make survival difficult because strong smells. Just saying. It'd also be nice to have a dick in that kind of case because then you wouldn't expose your entire ass. I don't know, chemical radiations. I don't know. Okay. Um, I'm gonna stop going on that tangent. I'll be honest, I've always liked butts because it's like they're such a gender neutral private part. I know that's weird. I really do like that though. Um, so probably where my dysphoria of I'm agender kicks in because I do have that bodily dysphoria is I do not want a vagina, but I do not want a dick either. Basically, I would be happy with either two things. Um, my ultimate preferred thing, if I could have it, is to have like the shaft of a dick, I guess, but not the balls. So, yeah, just because I'm kind of like I just don't like the idea of having that. I want a small kind of like basically when I feel down there, I don't want to feel a bulge, but I don't necessarily want to feel like like a camel's toe. So yeah, and in fact, actually, so I have a great example. So I like using this as my pecker, um, because it doesn't have balls obviously because it's a sock. It's just a sock like folded out over once, and I like it being that thin because then I to kind of create somewhat flat but still kind of a bulge there, and I want to be able to stand peeing up. See and that's where a lot of people be like, I mean, that sounds like you want to be a guy, but it's like, I mean, honestly, I just want to be able to pee standing up, and I want as minimal of a dick as I can. So honestly, metoidioplasty might actually is in fact gonna be would be great surgery for me because of me wanting a small dick to pee from, and I really just don't want I and I wouldn't do testicular implants or whatever. But yeah, so uh and like I said, I really like having curves. Um Honestly, I would also be okay with an androgynous voice, but at the same time I'm like yeah, uh I like having a deep voice, but if it's androgynous, I'm also okay with that because I would also really like that too. Um, but yeah, I'd like to have curves, and I kind of do. I actually have a well, not right now because I've gained 75 pounds, but um, yeah, but I used to at least have a good hourglass figure. And I actually really like that, which is why I think it took me so long to kind of realize I don't feel comfortable with my body, because I was always very happy about, having that more feminine hips, feminine, you know, uh, hourglass figure look. I just don't like having, I just don't like having, tits. uh, and so yeah, I feel like so yeah, there's a lot of dysphoria that kind of goes into that. And honestly, that's a lot of why I identify as agender is because of all the dysphoria. I think after that, it is the social dysphoria of like the way I want to be integrated into society is like I don't really want to be grouped up with the boys and I don't really want to be grouped up with the girls. I want to be grouped up with the queers. Uh so yeah. Uh you know, I don't want people to see me as a gender, basically, because I feel super disconnected, and honestly, I feel like my brain. I have a belief that it's very possible that just the same as transgender people have similar brains to their gender. I think that it's very possible non-binary people could in fact have kind of a middle ground of it kind of looks like this, it kind of looks like that kind of thing. So yeah, yeah. In all honesty, if it wasn't for the fact I had to pee, I would also be perfectly fine with nothing. But I don't feel like shitting like a bird. Isn't that nice? Like, though, just like birds don't have crotches. They don't have a vagina. They don't have a dick. I mean, I think that's like obvious, but in like they're still categorized as male and female birds, but still. But yeah, uh, I think that's enough of me rambling on my dysphoria. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, when is he gonna shut up? Let's see, what number are we on? Okay, yeah, that was 7. Oh, sometimes also with being misgendered is that one time I got misgendered and then like they corrected themselves as soon as I was talking. But I still get misgendered even when I do talk though. Because I don't know. I don't know.
I've been misgendered. I've been misgendered. I never used to think I experienced dysphoria. Page 16 of 24. I never used to think I experienced dysphoria. And I'm still a bit low. I never used to think I. Page 17 of 24. A. Talk about children. Are you interested in having children? Would you want to carry a child if that were an option for you? Do you want to be the primary caretaker for any children you may have?
So, children, they are a pain in the ass. uh, but I. That's difficult because mine comes more from an ideology that I would like to be free and have no obligations towards anybody. And like I can handle short-term obligations. In fact, it's actually what's motivating me to exercise anymore is just you know, short-term motivation. And basically, uh, but having a child is in fact a long-term, lifetime obligation. And like honestly, I have siblings, and they're younger than me, and like, damn, like if anything happened to them, I'd be going after somebody. Like, I wouldn't just be sad. I'd be on a rampage. That's how you piss me off. um, and I hate it because I still kind of feel a little bit obligated to be there for them, even though I am an older sibling. However, because you know, I'm already really close to them, I would not mind being their primary caretaker, which, to be honest, sometimes I feel like I would do a better job, but that's that's my opinion. And I have every right to my opinion. Not that my dad's bad, but more of my mother is awful, and my dad is kind of a pushover. uh, so yeah, I would not mind being, caretaker. I wouldn't. Oh gosh, like I said, mine's more out of an ideology of I don't want to have that obligation towards somebody. But if, like, I don't know, if someone gave me their kid and was like, I can't do this, I can't take care of this kid, I don't know what to do, I would take it because, it's just the kind of person I am. And, even though that is, I'm saying if it was like a baby, not like old enough to make its own decisions or whatever, then that kind of be a new problem in itself. But yeah, I mean, because I also I'm also pro-life, so yeah, there's a lot of kind of things there that's like, I would, you know, but honestly, it's like, I think, honestly, dysphoria-wise, I don't think I would want to have my own child just because of the hormonal imbalances, but and because of all the crazy hormonal stuff you go through a pregnancy. However, the actual being of carrying a child, I don't think I would mind as much. But because of my disability, it is hereditary, and I would not like to pass that along. So it is really hard for me to say yes or no to carrying a child because of dysphoria. More of out of ideologies and out of the belief that I don't want the chance of me having a female child and that child, having the same eye condition that I do. Because blindness sucks. And you have to listen to horrible voiceover voices in order to read anything, and that can be difficult. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are also, I'll be honest, there are some upsides to being blind, at least in the U.S. But I still rather not be blind. So yeah. Now, being a primary caretaker for a kid that's not my own, that is a different story. Like I said, I do not like the idea of having an obligation towards a kid. I think that's just commitment. I'm very man-like in in that sense of just like, oh, fuck commitment. So yeah, I would be willing to, but I would not want to. Kind of like if I found an abandoned child, I would rather me take care of it than put it into foster care or whatever, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because the foster care is stupid.
11:58 a.m. One note.
And I only know because of other people.
Shows or hide Safari Reader. A. Talk about children.
No.
I'm definitely interested in having children. Page 18 of 24. 9. Talk about money. Is it important to you to provide for a family financially if you choose to have one? Is it important to you that you earn more than any partner you may have? Do you prefer to pay for things like dates? Are you uncomfortable when others pay for you or offer to pay for you?
Okay. So, I have a lot of answers for that. So, more rambling. Uh, so, providing for a family. So, I actually have a couple friends who I'm helping out right now financially, and I honestly think I find a tad bit of pride in doing so. Like, I'm happy to kind of almost in a sense be a protector without that caretaking aspect. I don't want to be a caretaker, but I'm like, do your own thing, bruh. And like, get someone up on their feet. But, you know, I also like that I am able to help somebody out. Uh, I am, however, a penny pincher. And so I can be very selfish. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I want to keep as much money as I can, especially because I do want to raise up and save up some money for top surgery, and no one really wants to donate, so, you know, I have to depend on myself, right? Because no one gives a shit about the. Doesn't matter if you're blind and non-binary. You're a terrible person if you're conservative. I don't know. Yeah. Um. So basically, uh, when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm kind of like, yeah, I will help pay for something. I will take money that I would be willing to give, with the only exception of government, because I just kind of take, because, hey, but, I don't misuse it at all, because I do find that morally wrong. Is, it's like, okay, I'm going to use it for this, and so I'm actually going to use it. But trust me, it's tempting sometimes. Um, but, no, I would never do that, because I just, that's a terrible thing to do, that causes distrust, and that's not okay. And, I wouldn't want anybody doing that to me either. It's kind of golden rule kind of thing. When it comes to finances, I do use a lot of the golden rule for the most part. Um, like I said, I do take government assistance. But, so basically, when it comes to dates and stuff like that, see, I'm a horrifically. I can be cheesy. So I occasionally, if I'm going on an actual date, I like to be the person to pay for things as a showing of I care about you and I love you. Uh, but if it's not like a date, then then I like everything to be evenly split. Uh, I I I feel a little uncomfortable when someone else pays for me, but at the same time, I'm like, if I'm willing to pay for you too, or if I've paid for things for you before, I have no qualms about it because it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I've spent more on you than you're spending on me, so I don't really care. Like, in fact, I don't expect it, but I do like it if people who I pay a lot of stuff for, when they have the chance to pay for me. But if they're like a stranger or someone I don't typically pay for when going somewhere, I like to split it half and half. But I'm also willing to pay for the other person too. Uh, Especially if we're doing something I want to do. If we're doing something I want to do, I'm not as I'm like, okay, I'll pay for you. Yeah, that's kind of it. Uh, I'm trying to buckle down with finances though. I'm kind of an impulse buyer, and then I, around birthdays and holidays and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I can get this for this person, and I get really excited, and I feel excitement for a person, and I'm just like, oh my god, I have to get this for this person because this would make them smile. But yeah, so I'm trying to get my finances under control. So yeah, but
12:04 p.m.
I think that's enough on the financial stuff. Because honestly, I don't feel like finances really shut up, phone. Uh, Finances have really anything to do with gender. In all honesty, like I think the only thing that it has to do with gender is, I guess, typically the guys feel a little more uncomfortable when it comes to paying. Uh, when someone else is paying for them, they like to kind of basically take care of themselves or whatever. And I guess some women find that offensive, so. No.
Talk about
Okay, shut up.
19 of 24. It would be important for me to
Shut
page
up.
21 of 10. Anything else you want to share about your experience with gender?
Oh, look at that. We're at the 10th and final question. How long has this video been so far? Oh god, it's it's over an hour. No. I obviously have a lot that I can say about you. So at least at least with me, you're gonna have entertainment and dorkiness. Because I never shut up and I tend to repeat things, so. Oh well. That's why I'm doing YouTube videos. Maybe I'll get better communication one day. One day. Um, so when it comes to gender, I think having an opinion can sometimes be difficult because, and just thinking for yourself, because I noticed within the LGBT community that people tend to get offended at everything, and people want to demand that someone genders them correctly. And it's like, okay, yes, I I would be it would be respectful. It would be respectful if you were to gender me the way I want to be gendered. But I don't think it should be illegal to misgender somebody because freedom of speech and just you know and I mean also freedom of religion, right? um I feel like politically, if you don't side with the trans people, trans community, or non-binary people, you're kind of, or like gender non-conforming people, whatever, you you don't you still don't fit in with them. And with being specifically non-binary, it's hard for me to come out as non-binary because the only place that I would that would really accept me for the most part is those people who don't agree with, not just that they don't agree, but they get pissed off and, you know, want to call me a bigot, racist person. Uh, and even with my opinion of people should have the right to misgender you, even though it is, I do find it disrespectful. I don't think it's an act of violence unless, you know, you're. I think the only time, like, it can really be, you shouldn't like, there should be any major reason to not misgender somebody is if you're around somebody who could potentially harm that person because they're transgender. And, you know, I think, and, you know, those people definitely do exist, but not to the extent, you know, the LGBT community likes to make it out to be. Um, Honestly, I'm a believer in that you should be upfront about things. You know, it's like I wouldn't go. I'm gonna use an extreme example, but to, like, you know, being around, you know, having any really close relations, uh, like a relationship with somebody, and you don't tell them that you're trans, that would be like me, you know, that'd be me trying to go work for a job that where I have to, it'd be like me trying to sign up for Uber to drive, and me not, you know, mention that I'm blind. I know that's like an extreme. That's an extreme example, but I mean, it's kind of a similar concept in a sense. And I mean, like, I don't think being trans should matter. Uh, I do find that being non-binary specifically, uh, a lot of the non-binary community, I say non-binary community, is that even a thing? Is that a thing? um, are just, they're so cringy. They're just so cringy. And I believe that if they spent less time focusing on their fucking gender studies and focused on, like, I don't know, psychology and science or like neurology or something like that, that is how they can make a difference in the world of gender. Because then, you know, you can show some scientific evidence that there is a psychological thing going on in this person's head as to why they are non-binary. Because it's not solely a social constructed thing. Because if it is, then you're basically disregarding any dysphoria that transgender people have, and you're kind of disregarding the science of, you know, kind of the way that neurology is with transgender brains. And I find it difficult to relate to other non-binary individuals and actually talk about this subject, because I do want to talk about gender, but I don't, you know, sometimes I want to talk about how I feel about my gender, which is kind of why I have a YouTube channel, is because I'm I got no outlets for this stuff. Like, I think I only have like one friend, and I mean, at a certain point, they just kind of like, okay, I'm done hearing this, or we're both so cringed from our own conversations, because sometimes it's cringy, sometimes it really is. But because honestly, like, SJWs do have some valid points, but that doesn't make their entire arguments valid. They just have a few good points here and there, and I can agree with some of them. But there's a lot of them that I just stupid. That's just stupid. And so it's kind of like with identifying as agender, I feel a massive like disconnection from both sides of the parties, because with the non-binary people, I'm not accepted because I don't agree with their other ideologies. And I don't think everything's racist. I don't think everything's a bigoted move. And in fact, I'm technically religious, and I know a lot of people who are, cishet. I hate it when people also say cishet's not a bad word, because I have heard it used as slang before in a negative context, and I think that's where negative context is where I start to be like, hey, that's not cool. Like, I'm like that with a lot of things, though. Uh, and they just get so offended by everything, and so it's really hard for me to be like, hey, yeah, I've started identifying as agender, and I like they them pronouns, whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know. I just, and then conservatives, or more of, not even really, this isn't necessarily just conservatives, but this is kind of people who are, kind of tired of SJW bullshit, sometimes anti-SJWs, but I don't really like to necessarily call myself purely anti-SJW, because I think anti-anything just causes more problems than it does anything else. I just rant a lot about SJWs because it's kind of been damaging to me, kind of emotionally, dealing with them. So, yeah. Um, yeah. But when it comes to talking to those people, they don't, they believe only two genders kind of thing, arguments. And I'm like, no, I do identify as non-binary. And, you know, and hell, even, even some of the really popular people, they're perfectly fine with gay, and in fact, they are gay, like, but they are not okay with, they kind of bash transgenderness and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't agree with you. I like your other arguments, but I don't like this. I don't like this point that you make, though. uh, so it's really hard to find somebody who sees the bullshit in SJWs, who also completely recognizes non-binary as a valid thing. So yeah, so that's kind of a difficult thing I've had with gender. And like I said, I'm trying to be realistic, so I also respect that people can call me. Most likely, they'd rather call me a dude. And I like to hang around other Christians, but sometimes I'm not out to all Christians. All specifically. So yeah, I'm not really out to a lot of those people, and I want to be a part of religious groups. But I do get nervous because it's like I know you don't accept me for for what I am. Not even really. Not you might accept me for who I am, or you might not, because I also challenge religious ideals. Even though I'm religious myself, I challenge a lot of ideals. uh, and yeah, I just so it's like with gender, I can't be true about my gender around certain people because I want to have an intellectual conversation, but it's hard to have an intellectual conversation whenever about this, because all we've had shoved in our faces is a social construct. I'm horribly mocking shit. And then, like I said, not that it isn't, but it's you can't use that as your only argument. Because that falls apart very quickly. So yeah, and so like I said, I'm not trying to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking oppressed, but it's annoying because I do want to be recognized as neither gender, but I also respect someone's intellectual ideas to believe that I can't be that. So yeah, I think so when it comes to gender and ideology, I think it becomes a very separative thing, and to me that's not okay. So yeah. Anyhow, let's see how long this video is now. Oh my, an hour and a half. You listened to an hour and a half of me rambling about gender. God, I can talk a lot about gender. I feel very cringy now. Yeah, so remember social construct. Remember, everything's a social construct because nothing's actually real. Thank you for, if you got this far and you actually watched this all the way through, thank you. Thank you for watching my thoughts and the realism that is me. Because that's a thing I strongly believe in, is being real, and sometimes my realness makes for very long videos. So thank you, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye! Don't be bigots, everybody!